Hello everybody, welcome back. I've been on holiday, but I am back now, so you can chill out on the top fives for, I don't know, a couple of days, I guess. But thank you guys for tuning in. There's been a hell of a lot of negativity around Manchester United at the moment, and I want to dig down into that a little bit and see if we can get to the bottom of what's going on. Is there actually a crisis at Manchester United, or is this all media hoopla? And then a bit of my thoughts, and then I'm going to come to you guys' questions as well. So if you've got some good questions, don't just give me like a player name and a question mark, or who do you think we're signing, or anything like that. Give me some intelligent questions, and I'll read some of those questions out. But thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to like it, subscribe if you're new around here as well, and let's get into it. So someone's saying I'll be late. It was meant to start at 3. It's 3 o'clock. It started. So let's get into it then. So Mourinho, what's going on? Because there's good, there's bad. There's the media perception, and then there's the reality, isn't there? So let's talk about the good. When you're giving someone a shit sandwich, you always start with the good, don't you? Because it's definitely going to go into the bad. But let's start with the good. So Jose brought in some of the most exciting youngsters at United onto the tour. There's perhaps only Ethan Laird that could feel aggrieved at not being brought into the tour out of those with 5-star potential in the under-18s. Now, he didn't need to do this. Certainly with the lack of striking options, he could have brought James Wilson, someone that's got league experience, someone that's got championship experience, someone that's actually made his full debut for United, is a little bit older. Yes, there's his injury problems and things like that, but he chose to go with 16-year-old Mason Greenwood, who I don't think's had his GCSE results yet. That's a positive for me. It was a positive that he's took Angel. It's a positive that Chong has had a start when we've been over there. He's having a look at the likes of Roshan and that. We're going to get into the negative of what's happened with those, but for now, that's a positive for me. He's trusted those players. We also finished the season on 81 points, which is normally good enough to be in a title fight and sometimes good enough on several occasions to actually win the thing. It's our best post-Sir Alex Ferguson finish. We beat everybody in the league. Now, we beat Arsenal home and away. We beat Spurs, Chelsea and Liverpool at home. And we beat City away. We beat everybody in the league. Those that turned us over at some place, we turned them over elsewhere. If we drew with them, then we beat them in the second fixture. We've shown tactical flexibility. We've shown that we can win ugly. We've definitely shown that. We've shown that we could dominate games with possession, and we've shown that we can play on the counter and score every type of goal. Earlier in the season, we looked fantastic at set pieces. That kind of went away towards the back end of the season. We had a cup final. We could have picked up another trophy to add to the 2 that Jose Mourinho's already picked up. His win percentage is incomparable with what we saw with Moyes and Louis van Gaal. So why the calls for Jose to go? At times it was great, but others it was disappointing. Now the bad. There's absolutely bad. We lacked consistency. We lost the teams that we should have beat, and we drew with sides that we shouldn't have. That plus City having a 100-point season meant that we was well off the pace in the league. But the league's perhaps less disappointing than the Champions League exit. The Champions League exit to Sevilla, that 0-0 away, was eerily reminiscent of the 2-0 defeat in Piraeus to Olympiacos under David Moyes. When you're looking at the pitch and the players and you're going, well, the pieces of the jigsaw are in place, but that team doesn't have a bloody clue what's going on. They have no idea. And that's the problem. At times, this Manchester United team looks like we don't know what to do. Now, I know Jose's a pragmatic manager and he looks after the opposition first. That's what he does. One thing I was excited for bringing in McKenna and Carrick is that they're going to bring something on the ball. Michael Carrick, very intelligent player on and off the ball. Kieran McKenna, obviously done bits with both Spurs and Manchester United at youth level. Very intrigued to see what he can do as an attacking manager with the first team. But it's the... Let me go back here a second. So, the 0-0 away was horrible. Like I said, it was reminiscent of what happened with Moyes. But the home game was potentially even worse. Paul Pogba was dropped and Fellaini was started in midfield, and the football was horrendous. Standing on the Stretford end that night, I did not think United was turning it over. I just absolutely lacked the confidence in a team, and I think that was a turning point for a lot of Reds, to be honest. We didn't feel like we'd get into the game at any point. So the season limped to a close. Obviously, the disappointment then of the FA Cup final, which was a horrendous performance. The trophies from previous seasons have been forgotten. What can Jose do now? So the World Cup was always going to stall recruitment, and I'm probably going to look at this in a video tomorrow. 3 things that we learned on the tour, and that's one of the things that I want to talk about is the effect that the World Cup has had on this. It was always going to stall recruitment. But the lack of addressing obvious squad issues is a cause of huge frustration for fans. I say it a lot, don't I? I think a lot of people are more interested in transfers than they are in football. I know it's a lot of people's favourite part of playing FIFA. It's certainly one of my favourite parts of getting a new team on Football Manager, go bananas in the transfer market. It's exciting, I get that. But it's secondary to the football and it's secondary to coaching, or it should be. But my frustration is the obvious issues that I see in the squad. The likes of Ashley Young looking at starting at left back for next season is wrong. Manchester United should not be having Ashley Young. You can tell me you think he played all right, I'll disagree. You can tell me that you think he was adequate, I'll disagree. I think there's far better, obvious options that are gettable for Manchester United that we've not looked at getting. And I think that's inexcusable for a club of Manchester United's size. We'll get onto Liverpool in a little bit, but Liverpool have gone out there and they've started to address in the last 18 months the issues that their squad has. They brought a little bit of stardust in the final third over the last year or so. At Christmas, they brought in Virgil van Dijk. That showed up a little bit of their defence. The keeper proved to be an absolute traffic cone in net. They replaced him. They've also bought a box-to-box midfielder. They're addressing what's going on there. Now, we can take the mickey out of Jurgen Klopp. We can laugh at him saying boom and being an aerobics instructor on the sideline. But whatever's going on behind the scenes there, Liverpool are out there addressing. I think that's got a lot of United fans scared. There has to be some perspective on this though, and we'll get into that a little bit later on. Now, Jose's demeanour for us is hard to take. He's not tried once to endear himself to Manchester United fans. He's not tried once to build a connection with Manchester United fans. The one time he let his demeanour slip, the one time, was after the semi-final victory against Celta at home before we won the Europa League. When he grabbed hold of a scarf and he started twirling it round, and you could see what it meant for him to get a win like that and take us to a cup final. And that's the one time Jose Mourinho has done that. And that for me is a massive part of the job. Now, ultimately, yeah, it doesn't matter, really. It doesn't matter whether you're a Manchester United fan growing up and you get given the job. It doesn't matter if you're Jesse Lingard and you've grown up on the Stretford end and wearing United kits your entire life and you finally make it into the first team. It doesn't matter. But as fans, we buy into the romance of football clubs. That's why we sing songs that... Imagine standing at a Metrolink station on a Monday morning just singing songs with 5 of your mates. You'd be looked at and possibly questioned by the police. But it's accepted at football. We accept a lot of things that don't fit in with reality. And that's why we love the game. We fall in with the romance of it. Let us believe that there's romance in there. Let us believe that this is the job you always wanted. Let us believe that it's not a job to you, but it's a calling, it's your lifelong mission. It doesn't even feel like it's a job at the moment with Jose. It feels like it's community service for him. I've never seen someone as unhappy in his role as Jose Mourinho at the moment. And it means a lot to us. That denial delusion, if you like. But that's what we are as fans. We're romantic. That's why we sing songs like we sing. On the tour, Jose's come out and said some mad stuff. He's clearly upset. But the quotes that have been coming out have been weird at times. Now, he's moaned at the injuries, and I get that. But this is nothing new. You've got to expect injuries from World Cups, and you've got to expect injuries on pre-season tours. This is a normal part of football. He's moaned at, or he's publicly demanded players return early from vacation that have been pre-arranged. You're going to go this far in the World Cup, you get that far off. No, you couldn't have expected England, Belgium, France all to have United players and all be involved this deep into the competition. It's one of them. But you have to roll with it. He moaned about Valencia being out of shape and then awarded him the club captaincy. He's also kind of alluded to the youngsters that he's brought in not being good enough. What's that going to do to their confidence? The problem that I had with his attitude on the tour is that he could have come out a completely different way. He could have come out and said, congratulations to the lads for going as far as they've gone in the World Cup. I'm here with some youngsters that are going to get some valuable experience. You guys are going to see them. They're really exciting. These are the future of this club. I can't wait for you guys to see them. We're really happy and excited to watch them develop into world-class footballers. He said nothing like that. And I think this is important because his attitude is dictating a lot of what's going on with the fans. I'm not even getting into his very public passing of the buck on the transfer activity. Let's talk about the media perspective, because we know that there's an agenda against Jose. We know there's an agenda against Manchester United. They're deliberately leaving out context in some of the quotes, like not including some of the praise that he has said of players, only the criticisms. But Jose doesn't do himself any favours. Now, Pep Guardiola moans every bit as much as the way Jose Mourinho moans. But he does it in like a sarcastic way, and he'll do it on the back of some praise, or he'll do it with a smile. Or he won't say it directly the way Jose's coming out and saying it in a press conference. They're upset, or he's upset, that they've not managed to bring in Jorginho. But he's not said that in a press conference. He's leaked that out through the contacts that he's got in the media. So Pep is fuming as well. But when he comes out in front of the press, when he knows all those cameras are on him, he sits there and he smiles and he says great things about youngsters that we know aren't going to be in City's first team next season. But Jose's the complete opposite, and some of those youngsters might be in our first team next season. Pep's using the press. He's using them to say positive things in the press conferences, and then he's leaking it when he's unhappy. Now, why can't Jose do that? It would change the feeling. Now, it might not change the press agenda, but it would change elements of the feeling. What's the reality of what's going on? What is the truth of what is going on at the club, and what's my opinion on it? There's two things that I think could be happening. One of those things, it might be percentages of either. Now, I think Jose's lowering expectation. There's not one of us here now, me or you guys, that think United are going to start this season and go 10 out of 10. Not one of us. I've seen people saying we're going to struggle for top 6. I've seen people saying we're going to lose that first game. I'm seeing all sorts of stuff. Nobody is expecting United to come out the gate and start swinging, put down our first 10 opponents, blow City away, smack Liverpool about and go on our way to the 21st title. Not one person's thinking that. So is Jose lowering the expectation because he doesn't think that this squad can compete? Does he think that we've been overtaken by Liverpool? Does he think that we can't catch Manchester City? Or is he doing it to try and be the underdog, to try and be the surprise package? I don't know. I'm just asking these questions of you guys and just seeing what comes up with them. The other thing that could be happening, which is what some people in and out of the club think could be happening, is Jose's manufacturing his way out of the club. But that doesn't make a lot of sense to me neither, because he only signed a new deal in January. And yes, Ruth Farrier has moved on. Why didn't Jose walk at the same time? If that was going to be such of an issue for him working without Farrier, why not move on at the same time as Ruth did? His promotion of McKenna and Michael Carrick don't look as short-term appointments for me. They look at long-term appointments. They're potentially very astute appointments. Someone like Michael Carrick has got a lot to learn. If you're Jose and you're trying to get sacked, there's going to be work involved with you bringing Michael Carrick up to speed in what's going on in the first team. You wouldn't bother. You'd just go and get someone who's just been made out of work somewhere that's got 10, 15, 20 years experience like yourself. So you won't have to tell them what's what. You just bring them in and they shut up and then you both get sacked and it's both happy days. So his appointment of McKenna and Carrick to me doesn't smack of short-termism. That actually smacks of long-term planning. I can't work it out. I really can't work it out. Amidst the panic, you've got to look around elsewhere. Yes, Manchester City have bought. They bought a right winger. They didn't need a right winger. I don't think that's going to have any tangible effect on their season next season. I think they're going to win the league. I think they'll probably still be pretty comfortable winning the league. I don't think they'll get 100 points. I think it'll be closer than this season. But I still think they're the best team in the league and they're the ones to catch and they're the ones that United have to try and hair down. They bought a right winger that they don't need. Spurs have signed nobody. Chelsea didn't appoint Sarri until pre-season had started. Arsenal haven't signed anyone that's going to cause problems for the top 4. So why the panic in the United fan base? Would a new left-back have enabled us to win the league with what City haired away with last season? What is the improvement that some Manchester United fans are demanding when they demand Jose out? Are you happy to lose in this Spurs style of, they play pretty entertaining football and then they inexplicably lose 7 or 8 games a season, which means that they never look like they're going to win anything? I don't get it. For me, with Jose Mourinho, you put your desires to see fast counter-attacking football, you put them to one side. And you accept that Jose Mourinho comes with a certain amount of problems, a certain amount of arrogance, and a certain amount of swagger about him, but he delivers titles. When he's not delivering titles, can he stick around? Should he stick around? There's only Liverpool that have addressed the problems, as I said earlier, that I thought they had last season, and I'm not writing them off. I think it's going to be very interesting to see what they do. But I've seen so many false dawns from Liverpool in the past, and they've still won nothing. I would love to sit here and tell you guys that, listen, I know that Jose Mourinho is using the press, and then he's going in the dressing room with a nod and a wink, and he's telling them, don't listen to what I'm saying in the press conferences. Here's what's happening. Here's what I truly believe. I don't believe that that is the case with what's going on with Jose. Now, in his first season, we had Zlatan injured and we had Rooney injured, and we was going to Chelsea in the FA Cup. Now, Jose knows that the MEN like to bring their reporters to camp out and announce the squad ahead of time. So Jose used the press on that occasion. He told Anthony Martial and Marcus Rashford to get a later train down to London because he knew that the MEN was going to take pictures of the squad, and they was going to see, with Rooney injured and Zlatan out, that United are not travelling to London with a single striker. That's clever. That's Jose Mourinho. That's the sort of shithouse tactics that I love to see. And that really encouraged me when that happened. But it's happened once. If he was doing that now, I think it'd be fantastic. But there's negativity coming from all angles. From the fans, it's coming from Jose, and the players are feeling it. I'm sure the manager feels it, but I think he's also a massive part to blame of all of this. I'm going to come to the questions now and see what you guys are saying. I don't know how this season's going to go. I think it's going to be a rough ride. I don't expect us to win the league. I don't know if we're going to challenge for winning the league. But you can't win them all. Let's see what you guys are saying. Sam says, Jose out is too far, but what I don't expect is Jose moaning about his players and then he doesn't buy any solid first 11 bar Fred. I get it's not his fault, but he's just not good enough. This is a very, very interesting conundrum. Jose, as we said earlier, definitely put the blame or the responsibility of the transfer recruitment on Ed Woodward's door. Now, if Ed Woodward's not the man to make these recruitments, then United need to bring in a director of football. We was meant to be bringing in the guy from Juventus that was supposed to be overlooking transfers, and that hasn't really materialised. So United definitely needs somebody that can look at overall strategy. You know, there was a time when Fergie had like a bit of an obsession of buying left backs. Would a director of football have been the guy that was like, maybe we don't need another left back, mate? A director of football that can come in and look at long-term strategy and say, actually, we're not going to sign you another central midfielder. We've got Timbo, we've got Pereira. We think those players will do you adequately if used as a squad player. Move on. You need a striker? Yeah, I agree, we'll get you a striker. And that's what a director of football does. Ed is a money man. Ed is a commercial man. Ed is phenomenal at signing these deals. And he's seen as almost like a part of the Glazer family because of the way he negotiated the takeover of United in the first place. Woodward's going nowhere, but perhaps he needs a little bit of a help on a transfer front. Tariq says, the thing is we all expected when Jose comes to the club that we'll win the Premier League, but instead, since December, we have moved far from it. City had a once-in-a-lifetime season. Last season, I thought we had a pretty good chance of winning it. But like I said, from December, those 3 back-to-back draws and then the subsequent defeats to the likes of West Brom and that killed any momentum that we had in a season. And from there was no comeback, and obviously that went down. Daniel, do I still think Pogba is off? I don't think it. It was what I was told, that there's an 80% chance that Pogba's going to be leaving and Barcelona looks like the destination. Now, Duncan Castles has come out in the last couple of days and said that Raiola has been speaking to Barcelona and Juventus about him. I didn't magic cat out my arse. This was coming from the insides. Red says, the fact that we've quite a few players on big wages who Jose doesn't want, the reason for not buying more players. Yes, I think there's probably a massive element of that. What people don't realise is that, yes, there's a lot of deadwood at United, but deadwood can't just leave. Like, Luke Shaw was gone. Everton had agreed a fee with United. United really don't want him. And Luke Shaw was like, I ain't leaving. You can't make the player leave while he's under contract. It works both ways. And United pay very good wages, but it's not just what United pay. It's what United pay and then what they can earn from Adidas and boot sponsors and all the different third-party sponsors that they're with, because the exposure that Manchester United gets means that they can charge more just because they play for Manchester United. What do I think about the Mina move? Well, it's obvious United are in the mix for a centre-half. He's clearly not happy with Baye and Lindelof as first choice, or even Smalling and Jones. So it's clear that he wants someone with a little bit more experience. The fact that we've been linked with Bonucci, that we've been linked with Alderweireld, who we did definitely go for. I think United definitely want one. There's probably several targets. Whether we'll end up with one, who knows. Rayan says, is it Jose's fault Lukaku gave 2 goals to City when we lost to them? Half the squad dropped performance levels in random games and we weren't clinical. You can always look at an individual game and pull up an individual player's performance on the reasons that you've lost. I don't like to do that, to be honest, because I don't think you can get much from it. Is Duncan Castle reliable though, says Dave? It might as well be Jose Mourinho with a megaphone. I think he's got him on speed dial. If Mourinho signs Mina, I'm done, says Jack. I don't understand that, mate. What's the issue? How would I like United to line up to ensure the best possible start to the season? I don't know. We've just been moving around all our videos for this week about what we're going to do, and we had a tactics video slated. We was hoping that by the end of the tour, the tactics that United was going to use would be nice and clear. But the reality is we have no idea. No idea. And there's no leaks either coming through like, oh yeah, we're going to play this like that. I literally have no idea. Red says, Mina doesn't solve any of the centre-back issues. Fosu Mensah and Tuanzebe will be as good or better than him. That's the problem, though. Jose needs or wants experience. That's his game. He loves the experienced players. I think he could say that Fosu Mensah and Tuanzebe are unbelievably world-class potential defenders. Does that mean that they're going to be stuck around? I don't know. D-Ban in the comments says, would I take no transfers if you use the academy instead? No, because I don't think we've got the players right now that are ready for the positions that we need. I definitely think we need at least 1, if not 2 fullbacks. I think we need maybe someone with more natural width on the right. I think Chong's a hell of a prospect, but he's not ready yet. And the lads that we've got at left back aren't ready yet, unfortunately. And the issue with centre-half is experience, and I agree with that. I think we need an experienced centre-half that can pull Baye and Lindelof through, and obviously you can't bring through a 19-year-old with experience. It don't work like that. Dave's just given me a post-it note. He's doing a live stream for the game tonight, so make sure to tune in for that over on Statman Dave's channel. Who's the right winger he wants, Perisic or Willian? Definitely Willian. But there was also a lot of talk about Gareth Bale, and I think that was real talk at the time. I think the Ronaldo move might have changed the focus of Real Madrid a little bit on that one. I don't know at the moment. Thoughts on the Maguire talks? Now, I did actually see some people saying just because he had a good World Cup. Maguire didn't just have a good World Cup. Back in December, on a Full-Time Devils preview, I was saying Maguire is their best player because he was their best player. Maguire was phenomenal for Leicester last season, proven by the fact he won their Player of the Year. He wasn't average last season as someone who just had a good World Cup. His call-up was on the back of a good season, and he had a decent World Cup because he's a good footballer. Would he transform what United have got? Not sure, to be honest. I'd prefer Alderweireld. Would Cuadrado work as a right-sided midfielder? I think so. There's definitely a lack of width on that side, isn't there? Tabish says, but they'll never be ready if we don't use them. Tabish, the left backs that United have got at the club at the moment are 16. You're not going to throw a 16-year-old with the pressures and expectations on at Manchester United into the first team. This is real life, mate. isn't going to go down like that. When Sir Alex Ferguson brought through Ryan Giggs, who was one of the biggest prospects in world football at the time, he didn't start consecutive games all the time. You bring them in, you take them out. You bring them in, you take them out. United don't have anyone that they can bring them in and take them out with at the moment. They don't have the structure, the basis, the stability to be able to bring through young players. That's why United was so good at it for so long, is because it was a winning team. You bring a youngster into a team where you've got Giggs, you've got Scholes, you've got Roy Keane, and they just win. When we bring in the likes of Rooney and Ronaldo, unbelievable teenage talents, they're surrounded by Ruud van Nistelrooy and that midfield that I've just mentioned. And behind them, you've got Rio Ferdinand. That enables them to be expressive and to make mistakes and to learn on the job and to improve themselves as players without the expectation of, if I lose this ball, this team's garbage, and that's going to cost us a game, and I'm going to get crucified, and then the manager's going to blame me. You need a good team around them to foster in bringing through good players. That's the way it works. Do you think any youth will get regular first team action? Dave's just done a really good video on Pereira, and I absolutely 100% agree that Andreas Pereira is arguably our brightest player on tour. And he's always a good player when he's dropped back into midfield like that. A lot of people see him as a 10, he's played on the wing, but he's a very good footballer with a very good football brain. I would like to see Andreas Pereira, but again, the talks behind the scenes are like, Mourinho had planned for him to go out on loan. If Mourinho sends out Pereira on loan, allows Pogba to be sold, and has re-signed Fellaini, that's mental. Dave's laughing in the back over there, I can hear him. Yes, Fellaini has his uses, but from a pure footballing perspective, that's absolutely mental, isn't it? What do you guys think? Too many inconsistent players, says Barnaby. Lingard has great moments but disappears too much. I disagree with you on that one. Sanchez, we've yet to see. I think the Sanchez signing and the letting go of Mkhitaryan had a much bigger impact on our season than we're probably all willing to accept, because we don't want to admit that we give Arsenal a really good player. I know the reasons behind why Mkhitaryan was got rid of, and I agree with them, but I don't think we're better. And I think arguably a lot of the 4-0 FC at the start of last season was largely in part down to Mkhitaryan moving the ball forward from the middle, which Lingard can do bits of, but Mkhitaryan was better at it. John, I can't understand a meltdown 2 weeks before kick-off. Too many console supporters these days. I remember the press didn't give us a chance in hell in 96. Yep, and then Cantona came back in October and we won a double. You're right. You're absolutely right. But it's a different time. It's a different era. The pressure is on Rashford this time. I would like to see Rashford given an opportunity. He played a lot of right wing in the juniors from like 13s to 16s. And I think he's got a pretty good cross on him as well. It's whether Jose gives him the opportunity there. Now, people say, no, he had a couple of games there last season. That's not enough to see what you can do there. You have to allow them to bed in the position to know that you're going to be playing a few games here and what the specifics of the role are going to be. Mourinho versus Pogba in the press all season again. If he's here. If either of them are here. Alex says, are you sure Mourinho doesn't have a Chelsea kit on underneath his clothes? I know he's not purposely doing this, but it feels like complete sabotage. There's elements of it that do feel like sabotage, isn't there? That's the nightmare with it, is that it does feel like he's doing this a lot to himself when he doesn't need to, and an attitude shift would be a massive thing, I think. Right, I'm going to wrap it up there, but thank you guys for tuning in. We've got loads more content coming out this week, including Dave's live, which you need to check out later for tonight's match, so make sure you go and check out that live. It's the only watch-along worth watching. It's the one where you get all of the data and actual analysis, rather than some Bill picking his face, reading comments. But thank you guys for tuning in. Subscribe if you're new around here. Trust me, we have got loads of big things planned for this season, and we'd like you along for the ride. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Welcome to the Stephen Howson Football Channel. This is where I will take you through everything that I do revolving around football, be it that at Old Trafford or elsewhere. This is where you will get your match previews, your reviews, your football vlogs, your scout reports, your transfer talk, your youth reviews, your documentaries and anything and everything revolving around football. I absolutely love this game. Do me a favour and subscribe. Thank you for watching.